Hey YouTube, this will be week 29, yeah, of the Pagan YouTube Challenge. Numbers do not like to stick in my brain. I have that problem. Do you use crystals? Why and how? Yes, I do. I enjoy crystals. Certainly it's not to the extent that some other people use them. But I have collected crystals and gemstones since middle school. And most of them are small, just little tumbles and stuff. I use them a lot in spell work, and I use them if I'm doing a Reiki session that is someone that I know and trust and can know that I'm not... I know everyone that I do the Reiki sessions on, but I make sure that they know that it's not necessarily something tied to the Reiki itself, because Reiki is completely different. But I like using the gemstones corresponding with the chakra points. I have a couple of crystal grids in my house, which have been seen on the altars video. I definitely use them when I do spell bags or different things where it's just like one of the small tumbles will go in the bag. I will place them in a non-grid formation around my house just for whatever properties that I want to have in there. I have some grids set up for the same reason, but like I have a Shiva Lingam that's like a 7-inch Shiva Lingam that I've named George. I have Fred and George. George is the bigger one, and then Fred is my smaller, it's a black Shiva Lingam. That those are just around to, not that I need any help in the creativity department, but that's one of the things that they're known for, is helping the creative process. I also really enjoy the symbolism behind them being the cosmic egg. If you know anything about Shiva Lingams at all. It's not something that I necessarily focus my practice around or anything, but it is something I enjoy, using crystals in things. I have a couple of reference books. I haven't really committed too much to memory, but I definitely enjoy going to rock shows and doing all of that type of stuff and buying crystals and gemstones. And as to why, I feel that it is adding another element of the kind of sympathetic magic, the like attracts like. Because most of the time, when you are using crystals in stuff, if you're doing something that is based around the root chakra, it is using, reds. They're very similar. You've got red gemstones. There's some overlap, specifically if it's chakra work, but if it's trying to attract wealth, you're using your golds, your pyrite, your aventurine, greens, golds, the things that we associate with money. So I just feel like it's another layer to help in your spell work or whatever it is that you're trying to do. As to whether I buy into a lot of it, I'm not sure. I do know, like, I have a smallish collection of crystal skulls. I call them my Crystal Coven. They are... I was listening to Coast one day on the way home. It was just really late. I think I had to go to town late that evening to do something. It was just a not normal time that I would be in the car, but I was listening to Coast AM, and they were talking about crystal skulls. And, they go into the sort of farther out there talk of it, but what struck me was the connection to the ancestors, because the shape of a skull is already kind of used often for connecting with ones that have passed away or crossed over. But using it from what I like to say, a crystal skull made of the bones of the earth, because gems and rocks are all created in the earth with various degrees of heat and pressure, etc., etc. That really appealed to me because it's kind of connecting on a twofold basis, because it's shaped like a human skull, so it's kind of connecting with your ancestors, but it's also directly made of earth, so it's also totally connecting to any that have come before you in that direct tangent of being related to the earth itself. I don't know if that makes any sense to anyone, but it totally made sense to me at the time. And I kind of came home and decided that I needed one of these skulls, and that kind of was the turning point for me and skulls in general. I wasn't necessarily a fan of any sort of skull imagery before then, but now I love it. It just sort of was enough to flip a little bit of a switch. I have a couple of regular quartz ones. My first one was an amethyst one that's also a whistle. I've been known to use that when I'm space clearing. It's a bit hard to get it to whistle, but I feel like it's that the noise, the just like, and claiming it as my own, just a clearing thing that I do sometimes. Because I do know that bells and chimes and whistles and things are used for space clearing through millennia. But I don't know, that particular one just, I really liked it. I have a couple of the Lemurian points. I haven't actively worked with them to see if I agree with this barcode kind of theory that goes along with them, because there's striations on them. I kind of have 1 foot in the suspending of disbelief and 1 foot firmly grounded in the physical world, and where people are just going, it's just a rock. Well, yes and no. I have had some meditations that I've done and experiences and things. I mean, it kind of says something when I'm unpacking, even if it's just for me. Like, I was unpacking a lot of crystal skulls that I had got. They came from China. But this one hit my hand and it was like, Jack. So I have one that I've named Jack. That's, I think there's 2 or 3 that have actually kind of made a name known to me. See, we're going to go a little bit into the woo, because I feel that I've picked up on those types of, for lack of a better term, vibrations. So, and if you come from any sort of point of animism at all, then it's something that makes sense to anyone who has any sort of animism stripe, right? This is part of the reason why I liked Marie Kondo's books so much, is because she has that animistic stripe to it, and I have had some animistic type of leanings for a few years now. Please catch the little bit of sarcasm in that tone. But, so, as far as that goes, some of the crystals that I've got are just kind of collector pieces that I have for the fact that they're pretty. Others have been acquired for a specific purpose, and others are kept for a time when they will have a specific purpose. Decorations, spell bags, all that kind of stuff. I like them. I don't have any major, massive pieces, because the prices can just get astronomical. As much as I would love to have some of them. I think the most, like my Shiva, and that I got it off of eBay, and so I stock for deals. I stock for deals. Um, but only in an instance. I prefer to pick them out in person if I can. But that's not always possible. And I've definitely got a call through a screen. Um, but part of that is being in the right mindset for it when I go to look. Yeah. So yes, I use crystals. There's a little bit of why and there's a little bit of how in there. And that's